Okay, it's good to see everyone on Labor Day, so happy Monday. Before we get started, I'd like to say congratulations to our soccer and volleyball teams for their undefeated weekends, and Coach Penske and Coach Patrick are doing a great job, and it just adds to being one Tennessee, and excited for them. Good start, obviously needed to be 1-0, we're 1-0. However, watching the video, we need to take great strides in moving forward from Game 1 to Game 2, as we speak about all the time. There needs to be significant improvement from Week 1 to Week 2, and that's usually what good teams do. Now, obviously, the quality of opponent, a great opponent coming in here will be a challenge in and of itself. The things I did like from the game, 0 turnovers, especially in a first game. That's a very, very positive thing. I thought our players did a very good job of taking care of the football. In terms of situational football, I thought we did a very good job on both sides of the ball with third down. And then our special teams performance, sparked by very, very big returns that created short field for our offense on a number of scoring drives, our red zone efficiency. I thought we did a very good job with that. But, when you look at the significance of first games, as we said, first games are the game of the unknowns, not only from your opponent but from yourself. Know a little bit more as here's where we're at, here are the things we did well, and here are our deficiencies, and here are the things we need to work to correct and improve immediately and work to get better. And it's every player taking ownership with pride in their performance, inconsistency in their performance, and having the mindset beginning today that we're going to improve and we're going to become better. The things I didn't think we sustained very well in terms of sustaining blocks at all levels, sustaining getting off blocks at the junction point, and those are things we need to do a better job of. Our style of play needs to take significant growth and steps in moving forward. With just what we come, our standard, our expectations, was not particularly pleased with that. When we talk about each team being different, and I think everybody needs to realize that one of the major differences going from team to team to team is really the roles of players. Roles are starting to be defined on Team 119, but that's why two teams are never the same. You're playing young players that have never played before, and then you take another component where maybe on last year's team, an individual was a role player, and now all of a sudden their role on Team 119 changes. They're a little bit more of an every down player now. So not only are they we're a role player on special teams, but now they're playing significant playing time, have significant playing time on offense, defense, coupled with special teams as well. And that's a situation that's different in and of itself. So for these young players and for these players taking on new roles, every situation is a new situation. There's no baseline level of play. They're creating that best line style of play, or they're creating that on every single rep, and we have to aggressively pursue that baseline style of play, that baseline level. So every trip out of the tunnel is a new experience. There's so much to learn from game to game, from down to down. And we must learn from those lessons, and we must apply those each and every week. And again, we have a number of players who were role players that now have become every down players on this year's football team. And how do you handle that? And what you did last year to prepare is not good enough. It has to be that much better. How are you elevating your game? How are you elevating your style of play? How are you elevating your performance? How do you elevate the work that goes in your preparation and your consistency? All that goes into it. And our players understand we need to make significant growth and development and moving forward. But I did think there was a lot of positive things as well. Now, we all also understand that the team that we're about to face here in less than a week, I believe, is a top 5 football team. They're a top 5 football program. I have a lot of respect for Bob. I think he illustrates the difference between building a team and building a program. His administration, his fan base has stayed with him through trials and tribulations, and they've developed one of the best programs in all of college football, and they're a great football team. I think they're one of the most underrated football teams in the country, and you can tell that they have a quiet confidence about themselves, and they're very, very skilled, they're physical, they're tough, and they're a complete football team in all three phases. So it's going to take anything and everything that we have to be able to compete with them on Saturday. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Coach, what kind of review what you saw in Coleman Thomas that you felt like he was your best option at center, and how did he grade?
Well, Coleman is an individual who's continued to progress and get better and better, and center is his natural position. His athletic ability of being able to pull and get out on the edge, and whether it was blocking a corner or a linebacker, he had the point of attack block for 2 of our touchdowns. He was directly responsible. I thought he managed the game in terms of calling out the fronts, getting us in the right blocking schemes. He's very athletic, and he has some size. So for him making his first career start at center, we thought he played very well.
Butch, along the rest of the offensive line, how did that evaluate, and will you continue to urge competition there?
Everything is about competition, and as we've come to know in the world of coaching, when you put the video on, it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. And we have to take monumental growth up front in sustaining blocks, blocking at the second level, just our overall level of communication with all 5. But that's at every single position, and those are the nuances, of playing in a first game. But we'll continue to compete. And it's like I told our football team this morning is, football's a humbling game. And when you think you've arrived, you can be humbled in a hurry. And you have to earn your job. You have to earn your spot. You have to earn your reputation every single day that you play football. What you did last year has absolutely no bearing on this year. It's all about creating an identity. And we started to create our identity. And are we pleased with that identity? If not, we need to change it. We need to continue to progress and move forward. But that's what makes football special. That's what makes football different. It's a physical game. And you have to work and you have to create your identity each and every week.
Butch, do you expect Todd Kelly to be healthy enough to start on Saturday?
I do.
Do you think when he came in against Bowling Green that the secondary kind of settled down when he was in there?
Todd brings a calming effect. It's just like Brian Randolph. Brian Randolph puts his time in. He's one of those individuals who has a baseline level of performance. He can make checks. He gets us in the right calls. He's a problem solver. TK is that exact same way. You could see the defense kind of, not relax, but have a calmness about themselves when TK entered the game because he works at it. It's important to him. He understands the nature of the safety position and what it means from a communicative aspect. But he's 100%. We expect him to be ready to go against Oklahoma.
I was just wondering, looking back over the film, what you thought about how your pass defense fared Saturday, how that may have changed, and also just looking at Oklahoma's passing game, how different do they look with the new quarterback?
Well, we need to get better in a hurry because we have a football team coming in here that's skilled, very big, physical, imposing offensive line, 3 running backs that, I would argue would be as good as three any running backs in the country, not a tandem, but they have 3, and they complement each other just like Jalen and Elvin do. So we need to get better in a hurry. But I think everything with a naked eye, everyone wants to point towards the secondary. Well, that's not how pass defense works. It's all 11 individuals, and it starts up front. It starts up front with generating a pass rush. It starts up front with our get off the ball, the use of our hands. It starts with the second level with our linebackers, and then the third level is our secondary. And we did not play well defensively at all in the game. And we had some individuals do some uncharacteristic things, but again, it gets back to that baseline performance, and our players take pride in their performance. They understand that, and the great thing is we can work to correct the problems this week. But it wasn't just the secondary. In football, it's played by good players. They're going to throw the ball up, a 50-50 ball. That's why they're called 50-50 balls. And they're going to make plays. Everybody's on scholarship. And I don't have a problem if you're in man coverage and, hey, the opponent makes a great play and it's a great throw and it's a great catch. It's football. It's sport. You line up and you compete, you snap and clear, and you play the next snap. But if we have a mental error, if we have lack of effort, lack of fundamentals or technique, that's where we have the issues and the problems. And, it's a combination of both. Sometimes it was a really good quarterback making a great throw and the receiver making a great play. And other times, it was maybe us not generating a pass rush. So playing great pass defense, there's a lot of working parts and pieces and components. And everyone wants to look at the secondary because that's what they see. They see the end of the play. But there's a lot of things that go in at the beginning of the play as well.
Coach, this is going to be the biggest home game.
I feel like you're the auctioneer up here.
Going to be the biggest home game that a lot of these guys have played in. You've got a lot of young kids on your team. How do you worry about keeping this one in perspective this week and not making it more than it really is?
Well, I know John will love this, and it sounds like coach speak, but it's the truth. It's the most important game because it's the next game. That's it. And every single game is critical, and that's what makes college football special is one bad day can take you from all your dreams, goals, and aspirations. And so every game is important, but it's like I talked about the baseline experience. Every time they run out of the tunnel, it's something new. For a lot of these individuals, it'll be their first game in Neyland Stadium. A lot of these individuals, it'll be their 8th game playing in Neyland Stadium. So you just have to keep it in perspective. I think the biggest storyline is the quality of opponent. We're playing a great, great football team.
A record number of students requested a ticket for the Oklahoma game. Just how important is the student body in building your football program?
Imperative. The student body means everything to us, and that's why I've been so proud of our student body. They've been with us every venture of the way, and the greatest illustration is what you just spoke about, needing a ticket. When most universities are having problems getting students to the game and getting them to come early and stay to the end of the game, we have not had that problem here at Tennessee. Our student body has been exceptional, and we're part of them. We're part of that. They're peers. I'm part of them. And so I've just been grateful for them, and we're going to need their support not only for Oklahoma but the entire season.
Butch, how far away is Justin Martin from being totally healthy and being an impactful player on this defense?
Justin Martin's reps are going to increase this week. We'll see how much the knee can handle, but not only the physical repetitions, but the mental repetitions. How can he handle now a little more volume of special teams? How can he handle the volume defensively, just from a mental perspective, let alone a physical standpoint as well? So we'll increase his repetitions, and we'll see how that goes throughout the course of the week of practice.
As a coaching staff, will you guys give any thought to having Cam cover Sterling Shepard for the entirety of the game?
The problem with them is they don't only have Shepard, but they have a core of receivers that are very, very talented and very, very elusive. And they do a great job of getting the ball to their backs and creating space. And they're an up-tempo offense. Lincoln Riley does a very, very good job, and they create mismatches. So, again, we have to do a great job of moving our personnel around, but also they do a great job at tempo. And I think that's the thing that people need to realize. When you play up-tempo offenses, the situational part of defense, the sub-defense, the matchups, the personnel, you're not able to do that because of the tempo. There's a lot of communication that goes involved in lining up and playing fast. And so that's why it's important that your players are locked in, because you don't have that luxury of facing a huddle team where you're able to match players on players and do some different things that way because of the tempo.
But you said last year after the Oklahoma game that you really learned a lot about your team. Is that a side effect, win or lose, to this game, that going into conference play you maybe know more about your team?
Well, you're exactly right. Now I was thinking about that today is, we're playing, the best of the best. Again, they're a top 5 football team, a top 5 football program, and we'll know a little bit more of where we're at after the game, from a competitive standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from everything. And I think it's great preparation going into our conference play, as we'll know a little bit more where we need to go. And obviously, Bowling Green was a very, very good football team, very good offensive football team. But now when you're playing the Oklahomas, you know exactly where you're at, and if you have any deficiencies, they'll be exposed. So we'll know a little bit more, but I'm very encouraged by what I saw Saturday with this football team. I thought they showed some resiliency. I thought they showed some grit. I thought they showed some heart. And I thought they showed some maturity by the way they handled themselves with the lightning delay. We had some adverse situations occur, some we created for ourselves, but the way they handled it showed me a lot, and I'm excited. Today I saw a team that was hungry to get back to work and improve, and if you have that and you're willing to work, you can do anything you put your mind to it, and I see that in this football team.
Coach, what have you seen from Khalil Mackenzie in practice, and what did you see from him in the game on Saturday?
Khalil's working his way back into the rotation, and him missing, about a week to week and a half really set his development back just in terms of football stamina, technique, and he's a youngster. Again, he has no baseline. He has no baseline level of performance. He's working to that. Khalil is a very, very hard worker. It's important to him. And just like we talked about Justin Martin, his reps will increase also in practice this week, and we'll see how much of the volume of a defense that he can handle from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. But I was encouraged by the things I saw at the end of the game. And those live game repetitions, those are invaluable. And so to be able to get some of those individuals, those reps, and get that on film so you can teach them off of video, that was big for us.
Butch, what are your impressions of Baker Mayfield, and also how different is Oklahoma's offense under Lincoln Riley?
Well, Baker, first of all, quick release. He can spit the ball out there exceptionally fast. He can deal it out there, quick release, sprints to the football to get the offense lined up. I can tell that he plays with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, strong arm, and he's comfortable. I think he's running an offense that fits his skill set, and he has a lot of weapons around him with a very big, imposing offensive line. In terms of their offense with Lincoln Riley, they have good balance in terms of formations. They can run the football. They do the gamut of screens, pushing the ball down the field, throw game, and they couple that with an up-tempo package, which is very, very hard to prepare for.
Which, how did you evaluate Colton Jumper and Darren Kirkland kind of, I guess, individually in that game, and what's the situation there moving forward?
Situation's the same. I thought Colton did a very, very good job of lining us up, communication-wise, getting us in the right defenses. There's one play we would love to have back, and that's the 4th and 3 play, obviously. But I thought for the first game, and Colton be on the field for the first game, I thought he did a very good job. Now, obviously, we need to continue to improve and grow there with anything and everything. But for the first game, I thought he handled himself very well. Darren Kirkland, same thing. True freshman, again, no baseline. Every snap is a new learning experience for him. And what it showed is he has the ability to be a very, very good football player. Very explosive, can run. Now it's just the mental part of the game and getting lined up and communicated, which every true freshman goes through. But I was very encouraged by both of their play on Saturday.
But there was a Bowling Green defensive lineman that lost his shoe, and then he just kind of fell down on the field to stop the action. Did you talk to the officials about that situation and what should have occurred?
That kind of looked like me the other day trying to go for a walk and being out of shape. But we met with the officials in preseason like we always do. And, when it's equipment, they have to get off the field. Obviously, it's a fine line that puts the officials in a challenging situation with protecting the student athletes out in the field and injuries. So, they're kind of in a rock and a hard spot, so to speak, and I appreciate the job that they do. But he stopped the clock just because they were concerned it could be an injury, which, I agree with that.
Just wanted to go back to a little bit what you said about the defense and clarify a little bit. Is mostly what you saw, did the defense or the secondary basically do what it was supposed to do, and just because they spread you out so much, just end up in a lot of man-to-man situations? Was that kind of the explanation there?
Yeah, there was some. We didn't do a very good job. Individuals did a very good job from a communicative standpoint, but I thought as a defense in general, we did not do a very good job of communicating. And we had too many mental errors. And to play winning football, you can't have the amount of mental errors that we had. Again, first game, going fast, a lot of things happening, but that's inexcusable. And we understand that as coaches. That's on us. We understand it as our players understand it as well. And it's everyone taking accountable to fix it and correct it, and we'll get it corrected. But we just had way too many mental errors. I thought we didn't tackle particularly well in space. We didn't leverage the football very well in space. And those are all things that you worry about going into a first game. These are issues that a lot of teams around the country are having with first games. And you don't tackle as much anymore in practice, so you're always wondering how you're going to have live blocking and tackling for 60 minutes, and that's what we spoke about a week ago, is it's 60 minutes. It was a combination, and it's everyone understanding their job and their job description and doing their job. And I thought at times we panicked a little bit. Instead of just doing your job, we had some individuals try to do 2 or 3 people's jobs, and that's when you get into trouble. And, when you play collectively as a group and collectively as a unit, and you play team offense, team defense, team special teams, it's all based on the fact that you just do your job. Do your job, and you have all 11, 1 out of 11 doing their job, and you'll execute. And a lot of times for younger players or players that don't have a lot of experience, we talk about see a little, see a lot, and we had some players seeing a lot. And that's all the learning curve. That's all growth, and that's all positive because you learn from your mistakes.
Obviously, you had the 200-yard rushers over the weekend, and really around the conference, lots of great running back performances. Do you sense this is kind of what you're going to be seeing this season? Is it a particularly good year for running backs in the conference, and how do you think that might kind of shape the race as the season goes on?
Well, there's a lot of talented running backs in our conference from team to team, and obviously we're playing, a team Saturday that not only has 2, they have 3, and then a very good quarterback who can run the ball, can run option, can run draws, can run zone read, and understands the offense and has really been brought up in that offense. So, but I think, on our schedule, that's one of the challenges. It's hard to play great defense. It's hard to play defense in today's world with run-pass options and, the lineman being able to be 2 to 3 yards down the field and your reads and not being able to play sub-defenses and a lot of things that go into it. It makes it that much more challenging.
Butch, you said after the game you were pleased with the offensive tempo. Both Jalen and Josh said they play faster in practice. Realistically, how much faster can you go, and how much of an aid is that for your offense moving forward?
Well, it is an aid because just like we talked about all the problems that we have on defense with up-tempo offenses, we can create the same issues for our opponent. We would like to get faster, but we also have to manage the game as well. And sometimes the best defense is playing to your defense. It's protecting your defense, and that's where I thought Coach DeBoard and our entire offensive staff and our players did a good job with that. And it's all about the team. It's not one side of the ball. It's all about whatever it takes to win the football game, and that's why we don't have a lot of goals on offense or defense. We have the big 3. We have the things that we have to accomplish, but at the end of the game, it's winning as a team. But we would like to play faster. But I think the nuances of the game with spotting the ball and different things that go into it. But we always want to make practice faster than the live game situations.
Were you surprised at all by the complete lack of production statistically from Marquez North?
It's one of those games that kind of the flavor of it. We have to get the ball in the hands of Marquez. Marquez is one of our playmakers. He's worked very hard. but it was just one of those games where, we had a rhythm going. We were running the football. We wanted to stay to it. We needed to protect our defense a little bit, playing an up-tempo offense like theirs. So it was kind of, the storyline of the game. Now, this week could be different. The following week could be different. And, Marquez is a team player. He wants the team to win, but we have to get him the football and kind of manufacture some touches for him and moving forward, along with some of our other playmakers as well. But Marquez will get his time, and he understands that. And, he just wants to win, which is great, but we'll have some plays designed for him.
Thank you. We'll have players coming